Good morning. My name is Megan Refness. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at GEMCOR. I've been here a little over 20 years. I'm very excited that I get to be the first of many little mini webinars that GEMCOR is going to offer. Our goal is to have like a quick webinar every 4 to 6 weeks regarding various topics. I know Tara will potentially do one in December about 1090 ATs when those come up in January and things like that. So look for more little webinars that will be coming. Tara will be sending those out once she gets the schedule ready. Today, I am going to discuss crossover payment periods for Pell payments as the 26-27 award year is approaching. There's a lot of crossovers and people wanting to know how to properly review the files. If at any time during the presentation you have any questions, there's a Q&A box. It should be either on the top or on the right side of your screen. You can add any questions there. And then at the end of my presentation, I'll have Tara give me some questions and we'll do a little Q&A. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. As I said, the presentation today is regarding crossover payment periods for Pell Grant only. It is different for federal direct student loans, so today I'm just going to focus on Pell Grants. A crossover payment period is a payment period that overlaps 2 award years. Schools must assign the payment period to 1 award year for grant purposes. The federal requirement is that the school must assign the crossover period to the award year that's best for the student. So the best benefit would be like Pell eligibility. You'll want to review any remaining scheduled award for the year that they are in. Determining the best award year. So you're going to want to review both ICERs for each award year that the crossover is happening. Which award year gives the student the larger Pell amount? That's the main thing that we want to look at. In reviewing the FAFSA, you'll look at the SAIs. So the SAIs will be your biggest determination as to what the best benefit is. And again, that remaining eligibility in each award year. I'll show you an example regarding that remaining eligibility in just a few moments. Here is an example of a crossover payment period. The student starts in April. Payment period 1 is going to cross over from 25-26 is the begin date. It's going to end in the 26-27. So any payment period end date that begins before June 30th of 26 and ends after July 1st of 26 is considered a crossover payment period. So you'll want to review the students' ICERs, their 25-26 and their 26-27. If this student, in this example, if the student is has an SAI of 0 or a negative total, they're going to be eligible for the max Pell Award of the $73.95. This student's case, majority of their enrollment is going to be in that 26-27. A student is only eligible for up to 150% in a single award year of a Pell Grant. So for this student, the best option would be for them to have their first Pell payment period out of the 25-26, assuming that they didn't attend another school and have limited remaining eligibility in 25-26. And then the remaining 3 payments you would receive out of the 26-27, totaling the full program, sorry. This student technically could have 2 crossover payment periods, one in payment period 1 and one in payment period 4. In this example, though, I'm going to show that crossover here. Another example is if a student started after July 1st, they're going to get the first 3 payment periods out of that 26-27. And then the 4th payment period begins again before June 30th of 27, ending after July 1st of 27. This student would receive 2 payment periods, payment period 1, payment period 2, which would total 100%. This 3rd payment period is 300 hours, clock hours. So that would be 33.3%. So as of these 3 payments, the student would receive 133.3 out of that 150 that they're eligible for. So when you're reviewing this crossover, you're not only reviewing the SAI, but you're also looking at this fourth payment period is considered crossover. They could receive it out of either award year, but since the students already used 133%, that would only give them 16.7% remaining in 26-27. So even if this student had an SAI, potentially the 27-28 award year would be the best benefit for them. If you, at any time, if you have a student that you are questioning, please don't hesitate to reach out to GEMCOR because there's a lot of different situations that you could come across. Verification rules for crossover payment periods. Verification must follow the assigned year. If the student is selected for verification in that year, verification must be completed before awarding that Pell. If the student, let's say, for example, has a 25-26 ICER selected for verification and a 26-27 that is not selected for verification, and you use that 26-27, you do not have to complete verification on the 25-26 since that wouldn't be used. Reassigning ICERs in team. I'm going to just list how to do it, and then in a few moments, I'm going to actually open up a sample student in team and show how to reassign an ICER in team. First, you're going to go under that student awards package in the process award function. You're going to open up the student's award summary that you're going to reassign. On the bottom of the Pell Awards screen, you're going to select the disbursement that needs to be assigned, and you'll select the new ICER. And then once the student is eligible for the new payment period, then you can approve it in team. Again, I'm going to pull up really quickly, and I'm going to show you guys how to approve it. So let me go under process awards, and you can pull up that student. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the ICER list really quick. One moment. I'm going to select Adam Ambert. This student started a 1,500 clock hour program in February. That first payment period is going to be all in the 25-26 award year. So when you package the Pell, both payments of 0 to 450 and 451 to 900 would be using that 25-26 ICER. But let's say the school reviewed both 25-26 and the 26-27, and the 26-27 would be the better option for that second crossover payment period. It starts in May. It would end after July 1st. So you would click on that Pell, come in here and click on this disbursement number 2. It'll show that default ICER of the original package. And what you would do is go ahead and if there's a valid 26-27 ICER with verification that is complete, it would show it here. So you would select the 26-27 ICER, save and continue, or save and exit. And then you could approve that 26-27 Pell Grant as soon as the student is eligible. All right, that is my presentation. Tara, did you, was there any questions that you had?
Yes, we have a few here. Okay, the first one, and again, if anyone has any additional questions, be sure to put them in the Q&A box so we can get those answered for you. The first question we have says, if a student says they made significantly more income in 25-26, would we still require them to complete the 25-26 FAFSA, or is it okay to just use the 26-27?
They should complete both so you can see, so you can review both ICERs. But most likely if their income was significantly higher, then you're going to end up using that 26-27.
Okay, perfect. Next question. What if I have a valid ICER for one award year only?
We recommend that you have the student complete both ICERs or FAFSAs in the crossover payment. So it's recommended that they complete that 25-26 as well as that 26-27. Things could be different, income could be different. So you want to have both ICERs just so you get the best Pell payment for the students.
Okay, next question is what is the Pell Grant total for 26-27?
26-27 stayed the same as 25-26, so it is that 73.95.
Okay, next question. How is the Pell Award calculated for a crossover payment period?
Okay, so for a crossover payment period, it's the same proration, or there may be proration or not proration depending on the payment period. So it's the exact same as if it was in a just all-in-one award year.
Okay, I have one more question here. It says, what is the max Pell a student can receive in an award year?
So the max Pell is 150% of a scheduled award year. So if a student's SAI is 0 or a negative number, they're going to be eligible for that max 73.95 in the full award year. So that student could technically get 150%, which would be 11,092.
Okay, and that I think was the last question I had. If anyone attending has any other questions, be sure to get those in the Q&A box. We can get those answered for you.
Yeah, again, if anyone is packaging in team and they question what the best ICER is for the student, please don't hesitate to reach out to me either via phone or email, and I can help resolve your questions and packaging.
And I do see there are a couple people that have their hand raised in the meeting,
Mhm.
but we were not able to have your microphone on right now. So if you can go to that Q&A box, it just looks like a little question mark and a little chat bubble, and it says Q&A. If you can type your questions in there, we can try to get those answered for you before we end the meeting.
Yeah, and I did want to mention that as of a couple weeks ago, the 26-27 award year is open. So those crossover payment periods, if the 26-27 ICER is what benefits the student the most, you can package using that 26-27.
Okay, and I do have a few more that just came in. How does this affect the student stipend?
Um, I don't, I'm not sure. Can you elaborate? Sorry on that.
Sierra, if you're able to go in the Q&A and type a little bit more info on that question, that would be appreciated. The next question is, do we know when we will be able to start accepting Pell for 26-27?
26-27 did open within the last couple of weeks, so you can go ahead and package 26-27 in team. We've been seeing that there's a 1 day delay in funding on that first 26-27 award in G5, but then we've only seen a 1 day delay and the authorization is there.
Okay, next it says, if the student starts before July 1st, we must use 25-26 for at least the first payment period? Question mark?
No, if they start before July 1st of 26, but the payment period ends after July 1st of 26, that is a crossover payment period for Pell Grant. So you can review the students' ICERs and see what benefits them the most. It may benefit them, even though they began in 25-26, to get that funding out of 26-27.
Okay, next, for a student in a crossover period, if I only have a 25-26 and request the corresponding Pell disbursement, and then later receive a 26-27 for that student with a lower SAI, can I refund the 25-26 Pell and then request a higher Pell disbursement from 26-27?
You can absolutely do that. Yes.
Perfect. I think you might have answered this one already, but it says, do we have a date on when we can start processing 26-27 award year?
26-27 is open for processing. COD opened that within the last 2 weeks. So we have submitted some files, everything's successful, and you can go ahead and package and approve.
Okay, next, if our programs are 50 weeks, full-time, would it be considered 1 year? So the max Pell they can receive would only be 100% not 150%. Is that correct?
Say that, can you repeat that one more time, Tara?
If our programs are 50 weeks full-time, it would be considered 1 year. So the max Pell they can receive would only be 100%, not 150%, correct?
Correct. If your program is only 1 year long, one academic year, and that academic year is 50 weeks, then yes, you would only be eligible for 150%. Or I'm sorry, 100%.
Okay, I think we just have one left. If our program's second pay period spans over the 25-26 and 26-27 school years, but the program itself hits the 350 hours in 25-26, but students hit 350 in 26-27, are we still able to approve their aid since it was in the previous award year?
If your payment periods are 350 hours long and the first payment 0 to 350 is all in the 25-26, that cannot be requested out of the 26-27. If any portion of that 0 to 350 crosses over, even though it begins in 25-26, if it ends in 26-27, that is considered a crossover payment period for Pell Grant, and you can review both ICERs to see what award year benefits the student more.
Okay, and then the question from earlier, she did add a little bit more info. She said she's just wondering about the timing of the student stipend and how crossover periods affect that. If you still need more information, we can give her your email and we can have her reach out that way.
Yeah, the stipend will still be for a specific payment period. So the crossover, it doesn't really matter if it's out of 25-26 or 26-27, it's still for, let's say, that 0 to 450. So that will not affect it. Thank you for the additional information.
Okay, one more question just came in. Is there a difference in awarding Pell when attached to an open loan period?
No, loan periods are completely different than the Pell Grant payment periods. You'll see if the student's in an open award year, their loans could potentially be in all 25-26 or all 26-27, where a Pell Grant could be in that crossover payment period. It doesn't affect the open loan periods at all.
And I think, yeah, I think that's it for our Q&A. We got all of them answered. Thank you so much, Megan.
Yeah. Like I said, if anybody has any questions, additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We are happy to help.
Okay, thank you everyone so much for joining. If you have any additional questions, Megan's info is up on the screen. And thank you so much for attending.
Thank you.